crimes against journalists. This is UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres marking the day.
In just over a decade, more than 1,000 journalists have been killed while carrying out their indispensable work. 9 out of 10 cases are unresolved, with no one held accountable. Female journalists are often at greater risk of being targeted, not only for their reporting, but also because of their gender, including through the threat of sexual violence. This year alone, at least 88 journalists have been killed. Many thousands more have been attacked, harassed, detained or imprisoned on spurious charges without due process. And this is outrageous. This should not become the new normal. When journalists are targeted, societies as a whole pay a price. I'm deeply troubled by the growing number of attacks and the culture of impunity. And I call on governments and the international community to protect journalists and create the conditions they need to do their work.
That's the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. It's a timely reminder, what with the high-profile assassination of the Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Journalists are targeted in all kinds of ways, from assassinations to low-level harassment, with death threats and arbitrary arrests in between. In Cameroon, where a separatist struggle rages in the northwest and the southwest, journalists are in the thick of it. The ripples have spread throughout society and affects the way journalists are treated. Many have been harassed and intimidated for doing their work. Now, Mimi Mefo is a blogger and one of Cameroon's best-known journalists. She's been reporting on the situation in the Anglophone region, and now she's been summoned to appear before security operatives next week for questioning.
I was informed by my management that there is a convocation against me at the office, and my lawyer made me to understand that they have opened an investigation against me on propagation of false information and cyber criminality.
And are they using specific information, specific stories that you did?
They were not specific. They were not precise as to what information that I actually sent on this or published on the social media that was a fake or went against the cyber criminality law in Cameroon. They were not specific. So possibly during the auditioning on the 5th of November 2018, on Monday next week, we are certainly going to be knowing why I was summoned, because I was normally supposed to appear today, but the lawyer made sure that it was postponed for Monday.
Was it a surprise to you that the summons appeared?
Yeah, I'm surprised, but not totally surprised, because recently I was victim of a lot of threats, sabotage, blackmail. People even made direct threats to me, telling me that I would go down for my writings on the social media. Somebody even went as far as telling me that they are going to teach me a lesson in few days to come. And just few days after he made that statement on my social media platform, I saw the result, which was the convocation that my office told me that they received. I'm really baffled because I don't know what I published that had to do with cyber criminality or false information. That is the surprising aspect of it. But as I was not totally surprised, because I've been receiving threat signals recently.
So tell me, what sorts of things have been happening?
A lot of articles that were written recently. I was really surprised seeing a lot of articles. There was the last article that somebody wrote and said there are laws in Cameroon, like the law on anti-terrorism, there are laws on cyber criminality, that I could be sanctioned for openly supporting the secessionists in Cameroon. I don't know if you know about the crisis that has been rocking the two English-speaking regions of the country. But I have been one of the few female journalists that has visited the northwest and the southwest regions to see the situation on the ground for myself. I've been reporting about this crisis since it escalated in 2016. So I have been at the center of what is happening in these two English-speaking regions since the crisis escalated. So recently, it's not up to 2 weeks, I've been receiving articles, people writing articles how I'm the center of the disorder in the regions. I don't know how my name got there, but I've been receiving some strange articles from people who claim they were journalists, but actually they weren't, because the associations of journalists had to dig deep to find out who the individuals were, but they could not know who they were.
You say that you were surprised that your name has come up, in relation to the crisis in Cameroon, but you've just said to me that you've been writing about it. So it's not a surprise, though, is it? Or are you saying that you've been reporting on the crisis in a fair and balanced manner, and you're surprised that you're being targeted for reporting on it?
Yeah, certainly. I'm baffled because I don't think I've been reporting fake news on what is happening on the ground. I don't think my role as a journalist is to report what is not happening. My role as a journalist is to say the things the way they are. You are a journalist, and you have the role to tell the population what is happening in your community, how they are happening. So it is not your place to take sides to the government or take side with the secessionists. You have the role to tell the story the way they are. So I just do my job, telling the story the way the stories are. That's why I'm surprised.
That's the Cameroonian journalist Mimi Mefo Takambu. Crimes against journalists.